Some minds are so disturbing that even daring to look inside them is frightening. So what was inside Daniel Camargo Barbosa's mind? Today, we will examine his story, psychology, and motivation. But before psychology and motivation, we are going to start with his story. Let's begin with his childhood. When we look at his early life, we can clearly see neglect and abuse. His mother died when he was young, and after her death, his father found a new wife. From that point on, he was neglected by his father and left alone with his stepmother. She was a very cruel woman. She abused him, punished him constantly, and even forced him to wear girls' clothes while insulting him. When he became an adult, he got married. But after some time, he discovered that his wife was not a virgin, and this deeply disturbed him. After learning this, he told his wife to find virgin girls. Unfortunately, she obeyed him and brought 5 young girls. When she brought them, he raped them. However, he didn't kill them. On the contrary, he let them go. Once they were free, they went to the police, and he was arrested. Daniel was sentenced to 3 years in prison, but later he was released on parole. After leaving prison, he started selling TVs, but soon after, he kidnapped a young girl and killed her. After committing the crime, he simply returned to his daily life. Eventually, he was arrested again and sentenced to 25 years in prison. But he had a plan. He decided to escape. After preparing carefully, he managed to escape from prison using a boat that he built himself. He then reached a city in Ecuador. The police believed that he had been eaten by sharks or had drowned, but he was still alive. And this is where things became even darker. After arriving there, he killed 54 people, most of them children. The police initially believed that there had to be more than one killer because no one could commit that many murders alone. But eventually, he was caught. When he was arrested, he confessed to all of his crimes. If he hadn't been caught, he planned to kill 100 people. By the time of his arrest, he had already killed 72. Later, while he was in prison, he was killed by a man whose relative had been one of his victims. Now that we have seen his story, we can move on to his psychology and motivation. There is a clear difference between him and most criminals. He had no empathy, not for his victims, not for anyone. He was capable of killing dozens of children without feeling remorse. When we examine his mindset, it strongly suggests antisocial personality disorder. To him, his victims were not human beings. They were not even alive in his perception. They were objects, something he could control. He didn't kill just for the act itself. He killed to feel power and dominance. He specifically chose weak and vulnerable children because they were easy to control. He also showed clear signs of sadistic behavior. In fact, we can say that he had sexual sadism, similar to killers like BTK. He took pleasure in the suffering of his victims. At the same time, he was extremely narcissistic. He saw himself as the most important person in the world. Because of this, we can say that he showed traits of NPD, antisocial personality disorder, sadism, and paraphilia. These traits may have been shaped by his childhood. Suppressed emotions, neglect, and abuse can push a person in this direction, but this is not always the case. In my opinion, his personality was shaped by both his childhood experiences and hereditary factors. In the end, we are left with a dark and disturbing mind, and we can see how neglect, abuse, and trauma can push someone toward a destructive and dangerous path.